Hi, boys and girls. Today we are going to be taking a pretest, and on this pretest, you're going to be following along in your CARS booklet. CARS stands for Comprehensive Assessment of Reading Strategies. Okay, so as I'm reading, I want you to follow along. I'm going to read you the passage, and then I'm going to read you each of the questions, and then you're going to answer each of the questions after I read them to you. All right, so here we go. At the top, it says, read this history article about a war heroine. Then answer questions about the article. Choose the best answer for numbers 1 through 12. Revolutionary heroine. Paul Revere is best known for his historic midnight ride on horseback during the American Revolution. In 1775, Paul Revere rode through the streets of Massachusetts towns to warn the colonists that British troops were approaching. Another person made a similar, less celebrated ride just 2 years later. That person was a 16-year-old girl named Sybil Ludington. Sybil was with her father, Colonel Henry Ludington, at their home in New York when a messenger brought distressing news. The news revealed that British troops had set fire to the town of Danbury, Connecticut, which was about 15 miles southeast of the Ludington house. British troops were marching towards New York. The colonel needed to warn his countrymen about the impending raid. The men were scattered over a wide area around the Ludington house. However, the colonel was needed to stay home to organize the men when they arrived. Without hesitation, Sybil volunteered to take her father's horse. Star and alert, the colonist, though he did not want to let his daughter attempt such a dangerous mission, Colonel Ludington finally relented. Sybil rode off with her father, remaining at their home to prepare his men for battle. Young Sybil rode through the night, battling biting winds and driving rain, shouting, "The British are burning Danbury! Meet at Ludington's!" Several hours later, an exhausted Sybil arrived home after completing the 40-mile ride. Not realizing that she'd performed a heroic deed, Sybil was surprised to be met by the jubilant cheers of hundreds of colonists who had assembled at the Ludingtons' home. By dawn, Colonel Ludington had organized his men and marched off to Danbury, where they were able to force the British to retreat. Sybil's contribution to the war was not forgotten. Visitors to Putnam County, New York, can retrace the path she took during her midnight ride by following markers placed along the route. A statue of Sybil and Star also stands in Carmel, New York, honoring her courage and patriotism. In 1975, Sybil was honored with a commemorative stamp to celebrate the United States bicentennial. Question number 1, finding main idea. What is the main idea of paragraph 3? A. Colonel Ludington persuades his daughter to take his horse to warn the colonists. B. Sybil successfully completed her 40-mile ride. C. Colonel Ludington received distressing news from a messenger. D. Sybil convinces her father to let her alert the colonists about the British. Number 2, recalling facts and details. Which of these can be found in New York today? A statue of Colonel Ludington and his daughter. B, a statue of Sybil and her father's horse, Star. C, a monument in memory of Sybil and her father. D, a plaque explaining Sybil's bravery during the American Revolution. Number 3, understanding sequence. The boxes tell about some things that happened in the article. So in box 1, Colonel Ludington waited at his home to organize his men. So then what happened next is blank, and then the third one says Sybil was met by jubilant cheers. What belongs in the empty box? British troops were forced to retreat. Colonel Ludington and his men marched off to Danbury. Sybil rode through the night shouting, "The British are burning Danbury." Or D, the colonel received distressing news from a messenger. Number 4, recognizing cause and effect. Sybil was surprised to hear the cheers of hundreds of people because she, A, did not expect that the men would have already gathered at her home, B, did not think she had performed a task worthy of such praise, C, did not think she had succeeded in what she set out to do, D, thought that the men would have already left to prevent the British from attacking. Number 5, comparing and contrasting. How were Paul Revere and Sybil Ludington alike? A, they both began their historic rides at midnight. B, they both rode on horseback to warn colonists about British troops. C, they both prevented the British from entering New York. D, they both completed rides that were 40 miles long. And number 6 is a making predictions. Predict what would have happened if no one had warned the colonists about the British advance. A, the British would have taken control of Connecticut and moved on to New York. B, the British would have declared victors of the Revolution. C, the British would have been forced to retreat eventually. D, the British would have marched through Connecticut, leaving the region undisturbed. Turn the page, please. Question number 7, finding word meaning in context. In paragraph 3, the word relented means A, offered resistance, B, softened one's position, C, willingly agreed, D, delayed a decision. Question number 8, drawing conclusions and making inferences. From the article, readers can conclude that A, the British were outnumbered by the colonists in Danbury, B, Sybil helped bring a resolution to the American Revolution, Sybil's daring 40-mile ride took place in 1777, D, Sybil was the only daughter of Colonel Henry Ludington. Number 9, distinguishing between fact and opinion. What if these states a fact from the article? A, bravery such as Sybil's should be more common in people of all ages. B, Colonel Ludington would have warned the colonists about the British himself. C, Sybil's father should not have allowed her to attempt such a dangerous ride. D, a messenger brought distressing news to the Ludington home. Number 10, identifying author's purpose. The author wrote the article mainly to A, convince readers to learn more about the American Revolution, B, inform readers about the bravery of a young girl during a critical time in American history, C, explain how the British were thwarted in their attempt to take New York, D, entertain readers with a fictional story based on historical events. Number 11, interpreting figurative language. The phrase biting winds is an example of A, personification, B, metaphor, C, simile, D, irony. Number 12, summarizing. What is the best summary of the article? A, fearless colonel risks danger to help spare the country from a British raid. B, a young girl and her father work together to prevent a British attack. C, a brave young girl saves the colonies from British rule. D, a young girl pleads with her father to let her organize troops to halt a British advance.